And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities Podcast. My name is Jay, and we have an amazing show for you today. Has anybody ever heard of the word detailing? Well, if you have, I guarantee you don't know some of the secrets that our special guest, Danny Williams, is going to share with you today. And no, it is not a car wash. It is called detailing. And he's going to explain right now.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
Boom, booyah. Before we get going with Danny Williams, I want to thank our sponsor, iAutoAgent.com. That's I, like integrity, AutoAgent.com. They are real estate agents for people's cars. They will take care of selling your car at no cost to you. They will even meet the strange people that you don't want to meet. They will market, they will list, and handle that sticky money transaction. And if you want to buy a car, they will help you nationwide. Pick any car you want. You don't have to go to the dealer. They'll do it for you. They'll schedule all your showings, test drives, everything. Help you with financing, warranties, you name it. You literally show up and pick up your car. That's how the Vehicle Finder program works. And if you are just joining us, you can watch us live Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Time on the Facebook group page. It's called The Auto Authorities Podcast. Or if you want to watch us, but can't watch us live, simply go to YouTube, click the subscribe button and the notification buttons. It's called The Auto Authorities. And if you're just driving to work and you just want to listen to us, go to 19 different channels such as iTunes, Pandora, Amazon. All of those things will get you to the Auto Authorities. And I wanted to let you know, please, this has been incredible. The feedback has been amazing because when we're talking about topics, you can chime in the comment section below, or you can go to theautoauthorities.com and leave your comments or questions. I promise I will personally respond to you. And before we get going here, this is going to be Dan E. Williams, Owner's Pride. This guy is a detailing expert. Welcome to the show, Dan Williams.
Hey, thank you so much. From everything that you just said right there, I think it's going to be easier for people to see this than to miss it.
Yeah.
You got the bases covered.
Yeah, we really have this covered. I have a great producer, and it goes to so many different channels. We've been doing this now almost 2 years every single week, and I love it. I love going on here, and I love bringing people like you on to talk about things like detailing. Tell us your background, Dan.
Well, let's see. I am relevant to what we're talking about here in auto detailing. In 2004, I was in my early 30s, and I was kind of getting to that point in life where bringing people iced tea as a waiter just didn't seem as cool as it used to anymore. I wasn't really into going into restaurant management, so I started an auto detailing business. And I tell you, people looked at that as like, hey, this is a guy out washing cars, but I was able to grow and scale a business here in San Diego, bought a house in San Diego, ended up selling that business, went to work for one of the companies in the chemical supply side, worked my way from a consultant to regional manager to vice president of business development. And I was tapped to come and be a part of Owner's Pride, which was one of my customers at a detail shop in Omaha, Nebraska. They decided they wanted to start their own chemical line. And I was lucky enough to have my customer ask me to come be a part of their company. And now I'm one of the partners here and president of business development. And we're coming up on year number 3, and it's been one heck of a fun ride.
Wow. And it just sounds like, and I can just tell in your voice how much passion you have for what you do.
Yeah, I cannot imagine really doing anything that would be more fulfilling. We work both with supplying chemicals for DIY people, like who might be taking care of their own car, washing it in their driveway, or even putting a ceramic coating on it themselves. To our bread and butter is B2B, working with professional detail shops. Our big claim to fame is we sell the only compliant real warranty program to aftermarket detail shops. So same type of warranty you would get in a car dealership if you were buying a car new, we actually give to our network of detailers to sell alongside with our ceramic coating. So professionally admin with a third party and a third party insurance backing it. So it's a very special in the industry.
And Dan has agreed to share the secrets of some of his detailing. But I want to get right into it because one of the most frustrating things for us. So at iAuto Agent, when we're selling a car for somebody, we highly, highly recommend that they detail the car professionally, not run it through a car wash, because I always see people jumping over dollars to save pennies. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what does it really mean to detail a car, and what does it do for a car's value?
Well, first of all, if you look at your Kelly Blue Book value, they have a little chart in there when you go to see what your car's worth. And the cars that are in better condition, and human beings are going to look at that car and see a nice, shiny, clean car, are going to assume that it's more well taken care of and in better condition. So immediately it's going to be worth more money. So if you spend $200-300 getting a car detailed, I think that money will come back fivefold, in the price of a car. Because humans are just going to see a shiny object and they're going to be more attracted to it. But detailing a car, really, you're absolutely correct. More detailed, if you will, than going through a car wash, where they're really going to take the time to dig into all the little corners and nooks and crannies and make sure that the things that are sitting on top of your clear coat are polished, so the paint looks nice and uniform and deep and not scratched up, and makes the car worth a lot more money. Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to ask you a question on this too, and we do everything raw and uncut here. We don't practice questions or anything like that. So like, what about like under the hood? Like we have been encouraging people, like make sure, because our detailing company that we work with, they make it look beautiful under the hood. What are your thoughts on that? Like as far as like how much of a impact does that have?
And again, it's the whole darn car. When that thing is clean, but maybe do this. If you're selling your car, you're probably going to go look for a new car. If you're going to go look for a new car, what would you think if the car is all tore up, or if you lift up the hood and there's, grease all over the engine and it looks like a mess? And a lot of the new cars nowadays, let's admit, they have a big plastic cover that covers the whole hood. So that's
Yep.
not even really a difficult thing for somebody to take care of getting cleaned.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, and we just and a lot of our clients do the detail, but they're like, man, I don't know if I want to spend, like you said, it's right around upper twos to $300 to do a detail properly. And yeah, it's interesting. What do you think about like car washes, like touchless versus the ones with the brushes? I've always wondered that because you see the different types of car washes. Would you like say only do a touchless, or what about the things with the brushes? Like if they say that they're like, I don't even know what the word is, felt pads or like something like that.
So a car wash, much like a restaurant. You could go to a Sizzler and get a steak. You could go to a Ruth's Chris and get a steak. You have two different levels, and there's going to be customers lining up for each of those. Now, both of those, you're going to get a piece of dead cow. One of them might be a little, served to you a little bit better, luxuriously, and be more tender. The other one is, going to get you by, so your stomach's not growling. I mean, I kind of like to use that kind of an analogy. Having your car professionally detailed is really a luxury service. Is it something that's required for all humans to have? No. but there are a lot of people out there who are super tidy and they just like to go get into a clean car. And, we have detail shops where people bring their cars to. We also have a really big network of mobile detailers who will go right to you and take care of you while you're at work or sitting in your house. That just make it super convenient for you. So definitely you have both ends of the spectrum. Keeping your car clean, I mean, gosh, even in the manual for your car, it's going to say to run that thing through a car wash or do something to clean it every couple of weeks, just to make sure, that it doesn't degrade over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to try to count down like the best tips that you have, but like let's not start with the best one yet, but give us something that like it would be a really smart move to do, and like maybe a detailing trick that you know of.
Well, I'm a huge fan, and I swear I'm not coming on here just like to plug a product, but my name is Dan E. Williams. The E stands for Eco Wash. I am. It does not really stand for Eco Wash, but I love saying that. It's one of our products, and it's called Eco Wash, and it's dilutable at 512 to 1. It's a rinseless wash, so you
Mhm.
guys don't even have to pull your car out of a garage to wash it theoretically. It has heavy emulsifiers in it that you just put one little tiny capful of the product into about 3 gallons of water, pull a towel out of the bucket, start on the top, and every time you dip your towel into the water, all of the dirt is going to come off, and the emulsifiers just break it down. So,
Mm.
I mean, for people out here in the West where we're in a constant drought, it's a huge, huge thing. And I used to own it when I had my detailing business. There's a lot of water restrictions in California where you can't really have your water like just hose going right into the drains because it goes right into the ocean. And this has eliminated all of that. So I think it's the easiest and safest way to wash a car. And it kind of takes the excuse out because you don't even really have to go grab a hose and to make a big mess, and it can be quick and easy.
That's awesome. I'm like, where do I sign up? I didn't even know that something like that existed.
Yeah, well, we've been using hashtag EcoWash the world. So if you ever want to see examples, you can just put that into your social media and examples of it'll come up. And of course, you could get that on eBay or at ownerspride.com.
So
And
it's go ahead.
uh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so it's not gonna leave watermarks?
No, it's actually, so if you're a guy outside washing your car in the sun, you can, when the water dries, because it is hard water, tap water generally, it will leave mineral deposits. If you are using Eco Wash, it'll have polymers that are in the water ring and that'll come right off with a little bit more. So it almost acts as a water softener as well.
Whoa, that is so cool. I got a question for you. What about smoke smells? Is there anything that people can do about that?
Smoking cigarettes is bad for you. You probably should quit smoking cigarettes, and that'll make your car not smell like cigarettes.
So,
I think you could do something with maybe ozone. I'm not sure. If you get really heavy cigarette smoke smell,
it ain't
it
coming
gets
out.
in the foam and into the fabric, and you just have a mess. Cigarettes are bad.
What about dye? Like I always like these kids that have these like the minivans and the kids, they spill the red Kool-Aid.
Well, red is a really tough stain to get out. And I swear I'm not trying to turn this into a plug
No,
again,
no,
but
you can say this because
it,
this is really good. Like this is what people need to know.
life does happen, right? And as I was speaking about the warranty programs that we have, so with an interior warranty program, it actually does cover those instances where you would spill a juice box or or coffee, or gosh, it even covers if you were to sit down with a knife in your pocket and it pokes a hole in the seat. I tell people, is there anything that you can put on the seat that'll stop a knife from going through it? Probably not. However, if you had a warranty, you just call a 1-800 number and they'll find somebody to fix the problem for you. But
Wow.
life is going to happen. That I think smoke, two things that are terrible for a car are cigarettes and children.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to ask those things right off the bat because it's something we see a lot. is what are the things that people can do? And if it's one of your products, that's fine, like to protect their interior. Like, so if they do maybe spill something, is there something they can do to the carpet to make it like, maybe if they do spill something, that it'll be better? Or
Yeah, well, with the interior ceramic coating, and a warranty program, it does leave some polymers on the fibers, so your smells and your colors are not going to lock into a carpet fiber, or a stain will come off of your leather seat easier.
That's interesting.
But really, here's the main thing: if you spill something in there, clean it up quicker than later. The longer that you let it sit in there, the more it's really going to lock in. You let it dry, you let it sit through sun cycles, heat and cool. It'll really lock stains into your carpet and fabric a lot quicker.
That's awesome. Well, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Danny Williams. He owns a company called Owner's Pride, and he is giving us some secrets of detailing right now. And we're just going to get better and better as we go to hear like what's inside this man's mind, because he has been doing this, if I counted right, since 2004. So that's going to be going on 19 years doing this. So, and he's also talking about the importance of detailing. And what I'd love you to do is, if you have any questions directly for Danny or myself, just leave them below in the comments section. If you're on YouTube, if you're on the Facebook group page, the Auto Authorities Podcast, or you're simply on iTunes. And you can also send us questions at theautoauthorities.com. That's theautoauthorities.com. And Danny, I'm really enjoying this. I'll leave this to you. Like, what's another tip you have?
No, I just wanted to point out I'm not the sole owner of this company. I'm a partner, and I do have 4 partners in the company that are also owners of the company.
Nice.
Just to clarify that. And I'm sorry, what was your question?
What's another tip or trick to make the detailing process more efficient or effective, would you say?
Well, again, going to a professional detailer is really going to be the way to go. I know a lot of people kind of look at this industry and they would think somebody's just a car washer. However, there's a lot to, for these people who are professionals. They stay up to date on the new technologies that are coming out in surfaces and paints, and what kind of products you can properly use to clean stuff. And you can actually do some damage to your vehicle doing it yourself if you don't know what you're doing. Perhaps using something that's a little too caustic or too high of a pH on the inside that could it could stain the interior. You could lift the color pigmentation right off of the leather. If you use like a degreaser type of product that's too spicy on the inside of the car. So there are things that you really need to look out for and use caution.
What about products like Armor All and things like that? Just what do you think about that?
Well, dressings with silicone in them are really not good. I know that they use like a petroleum and a silicone in that specific product, at least back in the olden days. Technology has really come a long way as far as detailing tools and chemicals. There's just a lot safer stuff to use, kind of like the eco wash that I was talking about before. I mean, being pH balanced of 7, it's safe for all of your surfaces on the inside and out. So you get bottle of that. You can do so darn much with it. You can use it for a clay lube if you were going to clay the car, which people probably don't necessarily know what claying the car is, huh? Want to talk about that?
I was just going to ask you. You're following me.
Okay. So if you've ever if you ever looked at a car, you kind of see that it's shiny or it's not shiny. That's kind of one of the things that you'll notice. It could be really shiny, but crazy enough, if you feel that paint, as your car drives down the road, it kind of creates a vacuum behind it. And when you hit the brakes, brake dust comes out and it falls onto the back. So generally speaking, on the back side of your car, the fallout is going to be more prominent than in the front, but it's from industrial pollution, airplanes, and all of these contaminants get embedded into your clear coat.
Mhm.
Now, to feel this, you could walk around to the backside of your car, put a plastic baggie on your hand, whether it's a cigarette cellophane or a grocery bag or a sandwich bag, and feel the paint on the back of the car. You will be amazed at how it amplifies all of those little pieces of fallout. But essentially, what those fallout pieces are little pieces of metal that are embedded into your clear coat. So if they're kind of sticking up like the nubs on my finger right here, you can use a product called clay, either a clay bar or a clay towel with a lubricant. And as you slide it over the surface, what it does is it shears everything off at the surface. However, it still leaves inside the pores, like in the pores of your skin, some of the contaminants. So they have a product called, our product is called Deconx. There's a lot of them on the market, and they're a thiol based, which is a derivative of sulfur. So it kind of stinks like eggs and farts and with a hint of cherry. But what it does is it attacks the ferrous oxides that are these little pieces of metal that are embedded into your clear coat, while it's still balanced at a pH 7. So you're not going to get in any trouble or hurt anything or etch any glass. But what it does is it attacks that metal and it just turns red and starts bleeding. But that's essentially going to clean out, not only you're shearing off everything at the surface, but you're cleaning out all of the pores, leaving your paint completely clean.
Wow, oh my goodness, that's a lot. So I've got a question for you. Let's say somebody has, because I see this a lot. You'd rub up against the garage on the mirror, and there's paint on the mirror, or like my daughter did. I know this has never happened before in the history of the world, but it happened to her. She was pulling up to a gas pump, and you know those big yellow poles that come out of the concrete that are really, really easy to see. Well, what happened with her is they came out of the concrete, went all the way down the side of the driver's side of the car of a 2020 Volkswagen Tiguan. And it wasn't her fault. They actually came out of the concrete and made sure that they hit all the way down the side of the car. Now there's yellow on the side of the car. What's the easiest way to remove that?
So a lot of times, paint transfer, you can just take some polish or some compound, even on a towel by hand, and just rub on it. And what that is just another paint that has come off of whatever substrate it was connected to and adhered itself to the car.
Mhm.
I remember the first time there was like little white nicks on the side of one of my old girlfriend's pickup trucks, and this is before I started a detailing business, and I just thought that those were like in the paint and that they were there.
Mhm.
The day that I put some wax or some little polish on there and rubbed it, and they came off, I was amazed, amazed.
Yeah. So you just think just like rubbing compound, like you just get it at Walmart, or what do you think?
Well, of course, I would go to ownerspride.com and buy some OP compound. But yeah, man, anywhere's a little bit of polish or some compound. Compound is going to be more aggressive of a product, generally speaking. So maybe you would go with a polish that's going to be a little bit more fine and not, leave scratches that you have to take out after a chunky compound.
Is there any, I mean, obviously your products, is there anything like if someone just wanted to run down to the store real quick to get it, like you would recommend?
Any one of these things that say that they're a cleaner wax, from your, big brands like
Okay.
Meguiar's or, any of those would be absolutely fine.
Got it. How often should someone detail their vehicle?
Well, you should wash your car probably every couple of weeks. Most of the people that I had as customers, I would do either a full detail or a ceramic coating to get them onto my schedule as a maintenance customer. I'd wash their car every couple weeks. Back in the days before ceramic coatings, when I was just doing waxes, I would wax a car every quarter
Okay.
and give it a full detail once a year. It was kind of the main schedule that I would take people as maintenance customers. But it depends on how much you drive your car. If you're somebody who is driving around a lot, and especially if you have kids in there, I mean, it can get pretty dirty and a lot of germs. So really cleaning that inside, in those situations seems, really important. And then you got some people who are more tidy on the inside of their car, but maybe that car is like some kind of a European sports car, and that's a little extension of their personality and their success. And they're just going to want that car to look really clean, and the outside's going to be more important to them.
It's interesting you say once a year to actually detail the car. So you just think pretty much car washes every couple weeks, and then you would wash the car with your products, and then you would then come back once a year to do a detail. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Just proper maintenance. If you want to take care of it and make it last longer, and again, if we're talking about buying and selling cars for you, people are going to, if you take care of a car and it looks good, they're going to give you more money for it.
Yeah, I mean that's totally true. So I've got a question for you. What is like the coolest product that you guys have there, or something that you've seen? As far as, I always like talking about technology a lot, and like, what is the coolest product in your mind that you have in your like owner's pride or period?
Yeah. So I'm going to say that really if I look back over the past 20 years of being in this industry, some of the biggest innovations that have been game changers for people for detailing businesses has to be some of the tools that have come out. They have changed from back in the old days where they had only rotary polishers with wool pads. Well, you can create holograms and swirls in the paint, and you can burn paint, you can do damage. They've really fast forward to now, we've got 21 millimeter long throw random orbital polishers where you could pretty much put it in somebody brand new's hands, and they're going to have to try to mess a car up. And it's much, much easier technology to make a car shiny. As far as a detailing business goes, CRMs have really changed the way people used to do business, to being able to really have run a sales process and be able to organize your customers and treat a detailing business like a real business where you're doing an email nurture campaign and a proper sales funnel and closing your sales. If I were to say products, it's going to be like this with the eco wash or rinseless washes, which have really changed how much water you have to use. And I honestly think that they're just a safer way to wash your car. But probably the crown jewel up here on this bald head is going to be ceramic coatings. The technology has come really far, and probably about the last 15 years, to where instead of a wax that just sits on top of the surface of your car, these actually make a chemical cross-link to the substrate of the paint, and they are a very thin layer of ceramic that is going to be harder than the paint. Less dirt is going to stick to the paint, so when you wash it, you're going to have less swirls and scratches over time because dirt will be released easier. And then some of the big things, like everybody's seen when a bird poops on your car and it'll etch right down into the paint. When you have a ceramic coating on there, the idea is it's just going to sit on top of it, and it's not going to go down and crackle into the paint, permanently damaging the paint. Your car will be shinier and easier for you to wash, look better over time. And if you do have a program, a compliant warranty program such as we do, if any of those things go sideways, you call a 1-800 number from anywhere in the United States, and they will find somebody to adjudicate your claim and make you whole.
So in the few minutes we have, I want to make sure everybody gets connected to you. But Dan, real quick, so is it possible for somebody to actually put the ceramic coating on themselves?
It is. One of the things that you want to make sure if you're going to do a ceramic coating, and we have a product called Top Coat that is a consumer ceramic coating that's readily available, and the application process is the same as our professional coatings. It has a lower content of the raw ceramic in it, so it's a little easier to work with. But the thing that you really want to do is you kind of want to make sure that you take the proper steps if you're going to ceramic coat a car. So you would want to wash the car. After the car was washed, you would want to use that Decon X with a clay towel, which is the iron oxide remover. Then you would want to rinse the car after that product. Before you polish a car, we also recommend that you use a water spot remover, because minerals can build up on the outside of your car. If you think, you're just washing your car and drying it off with a towel, there's a minuscule amount of water that stays on the surface as you're drying the car. Well, over time, those mineral deposits can build up and they can really impede, the hydrophobics on the car. Or when you're going to polish the car, you're using a foam pad and you don't want the little pieces of metal that we took out with the Decon X to get mixed up with your polish and your compound or your pad. Nor do you want a whole bunch of minerals from road salt or whatever may be on the surface of the car mixing in there. So wash, Decon X and clay, a spotless or a water spot remover. Now you're ready to polish the car. After you polish the car, you remove the polish. You want to use a paint prep product, which is a high alcohol content, and there's a catalyst in there that helps aid in the cross-linking. Then you put your ceramic coating on. So absolutely yes. And if anybody would like to know how to do it themselves, you can absolutely call the 1-800 number or contact me through social media, and I'd love to walk you through it. But again, you can see there's a lot to it, and that's why going to a professional detailer makes so much sense, because time is money.
Perfect. Thank you, Dan. Dan, we saved the best for last, everybody. I hope you listen to that very closely. Dan, how can people get a hold of you or your company if they want some of these wonderful products we've been talking about?
Our products are available both on eBay as well as ownerspride.com. I do the Owner's Pride podcast, which is available everywhere. We do have a YouTube channel that will be coming out February 2nd. So that's pretty exciting. And as far as the audio side goes, everywhere on Facebook, my name is DANN Williams, Dan E. Williams. And I'm pretty easy to find. If you need me, you can Google Dan E. Williams Owner's Pride podcast, and it's hard to miss me.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Everybody listening, leave us questions below in the comments. And Dan, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.